Okay, start the class. So yesterday we have saw some basics of C programming. So how to learn the new language and what are the steps to learn the new language. Okay, so then we have come across character set in that letters, digits, symbols, and white spaces, or we can call escape sequences or backslash character constants. Then we came across the topic called tokens. Okay, so in that we saw the topic keywords. Okay, so then we have come across the term identifiers. So here, once again, we will discuss the identifiers because this is very, very important topic throughout the programming languages. Okay. So if you know the identifier concept perfectly, then it will help a lot in writing programs. Okay. So identifiers means these are the names given to various programming elements. So here, various programming elements means variables, arrays, functions, structure variables, classes, objects, and so on. So in C++ also we come across various programming elements. In Java we come across various programming elements. Okay. So to name all the programming elements, so we are using the concept called as identifiers, and these are the rules. So yesterday we saw these rules. Okay. See, next thing, see, you just look at the definition. Identifiers a name given to the various programming elements such as variables. So we will see the concept of variables now. Okay, so we will see what is a variable or what is the variable name, and what are the rules to write the variable name, and what are the concepts we come across in the variable name. We will see. Okay, so you just look at this definition. See this variable word. If you look at the word, okay, so we can think like it has come from English word only. So I think you might have listened to the word variation. Okay, so the meaning of variation is something which is changing. Okay, something if it changes during some period, okay, during some time, then it is called as variable. Okay, so from the name, it's from the term itself we can understand something which changes, which is not fixed. For example, if you consider the temperature, so temperature changes during the day or during the month, during the year, like that, or during within 1 hour also it changes from minute to minute, like that. Okay, so that is called variable. So according to that, according to that, so look at the first definition. So here we have three definitions for variable. So variable is a quantity which can change its value. See, I have written which can change its value. That means it is not a rule that it should change, but it has the option to change, which can change its value during the execution of a program. So I have given example of temperature. For temperature, we can consider it changes during the day. Okay, within 24 hours, it may change at any time. So when we go to programming language, it will change during the execution of a program. So if you consider one program from first line to last line of the program, at any time it can change its value, and it is not a rule that it should change, but it has the option to change. Okay, so that is the thing. Or so one more definition is there. Variable is an identifier which stores a value and may change during the execution of the program. See, in all the definitions, this this thing is common. That is, it will change during the execution of a program. But some difference is there in the definition. So in the second definition, variable is an identifier. So if you just look at this statement, variable is an identifier, then you should know the concept of identifier. So what is an identifier? So identifier is a name given to the programming element. Okay, that means we can consider variable is a name. Then what it does? So it is a name which stores a value. Okay, and what happens? It may change during the execution of a program. Okay, so variable is a name which stores a value and it has the option to change its value at any point in a program. Okay, next, variable is a name given to the computer memory location where the value is stored and may change during the execution of a program. So this is the very, very important definition. So because we come across in the program. See, look at this diagram. Okay, we'll explain this diagram. See, whenever we type something from the keyboard, so either the capital letter, small letter, or digits or symbols, before it appears on the screen, computer screen, it will store it in a computer memory. Okay, so that memory we will not see, but it is understood that it has to store in computer memory because the functionality of computer system is input, processing, memory, and output. Okay, So when we type from the keyboard, that is the input. So processing means processor will accept it and it stores in a primary memory or secondary memory, and it is displayed on the screen. So when it stores in the computer memory, see, computer knows where the value is stored. Okay, but for us, for users, we will not come to know where the value is stored. So that is meaning here. So if we want to know where exactly the value is stored, whatever we have typed from the keyboard, so what we have to do is, for that computer memory location, we have to give some name. So then only we will come to know where the value is stored. So you just look at this diagram. So this is just an assumption of computer memory. It is not like it will be exactly like this only. You just assume it. Like if you look at the RAM slot in the CPU, so in the RAM slot, we'll assume like this, the memory will be present. Okay, like you see shelf in your house. Okay, so now if you consider these are the locations, for example, if I type 100, see somewhere it will be stored between these locations, somewhere it will be stored. But computer knows where it is stored, because computer will identify by the address. But for us to know where it is stored, we have to give some name for that location. Okay, see, giving name for that location means we will not take out the RAM and write the name on the RAM chip. But here, from program only, we will write the name. Okay, and that name is nothing but an identifier. So when you write the name for that memory location, so you have to follow these rules. What are those rules? The first character of an identifier should not be digit, keywords not allowed, blank spaces not allowed, symbols except underscore is not allowed. By following these rules, you have to give the name for the computer memory, and that name is nothing but the variable. Okay, so we have three definitions. First definition is quantity, which can change its value during the execution of a program. Second, variable is an identifier which stores a value and may change during the execution of program. Third one, variable is a name. See, this name and identifier both are same, because if you look at the definition of identifier in a shorter way, we can just say identifier is a name. Okay, 1 minute. So if we want to understand the concept of identifier in a simple way, so you can just say identifier is a name. If you say identifier is a name, this is short definition of identifier. Now if you say variable is an identifier or variable is a name, both are same, because identifier is a name. Okay, next, so variable is a name given to the memory location. Which memory location? Computer memory location. So what we will do after giving name to that location, we will store the value. So where the value is stored, then whatever the value is stored, whether it has the option to change, yes, it has option to change. If it doesn't have option to change, then the next concept will come, that is the constant. Okay, so variable and constant both are opposite. So variable will change its value, constant will not change its value. Okay, so now you can take down this definition of variable. Okay, 1 minute before going to that, so just I will make some difference between identifier and variable. So if you consider the only identifier definition, so you can say identifier is just a name. If you consider the variable definition, so how we can define is, so just look here, variable is a name. See, if I write like this, variable identifier is a name and variable is a name, both if I write like this, then there should be some difference between the identifier and a variable. Okay, so if you consider the identifier definition, identifier is just a name. If you consider the variable definition, variable is a name. So extra thing you have to add, variable is a name with value. If you add these two words, then we will get the definition of variable. Or else if you stop at this point, variable is a name, if you stop at this point, then we can say it is an identifier. It is just an identifier, it is not a variable. So if you want to make a variable as an, sorry, if you want to make an identifier as a variable, then you add this two words, variable is a name with value, or you can say variable is an identifier with value. Okay, oh, I hope you have understood. So if you look at identifier, it is just a name. If you look at variable, it is a name with value, or it is an identifier with value. You take this definition. So third definition is very, very important. You have to concentrate more on that, and you remember this third definition throughout the learning of the C programming language, because it says it is a name given to the computer memory location. I already said why we have to give name to the computer memory location means because computer knows the where the value is stored, but for users, for programmers, we will not come to know where the value is stored. So we have to give the name for that. So for example, if I give something like book or pen, and if I tell you to store it in your home, if you go and if you go to home and if you just throw it in a storeroom, then next time if I ask, you have to search for a long time. So we'll keep in a particular place. If it is a pen, we'll keep in a pen stand. If it is a book, if you will keep it on the table like that. If you just throw it in a storeroom, then for the next time if I ask, you have to search for that. So same thing happens here. So the value 100 will be stored in computer memory location, but if we don't give any name, then it's very difficult to find out. We have to find out by using address, and that for finding value by address is not so simple. Okay, for that reason we have to give the name for the computer memory location, and that name is the variable. We just copy this definition and with the diagram. So copy the remaining part of definition and with example. So memory representation you can just draw roughly. You need not like make use of scale, pencil, and all. Just draw roughly. And these boxes also, it is not like how to count it and write. Just write some 8 to 10 boxes in between. Somewhere you write value, and this value you can write anything. Okay. இப்போ Okay, so we will go for the next topic, that is constants. Okay. Okay. So as I said, this again from English we consider. So when we use constant is whenever there is a value and it is fixed, which will not change throughout the day or year or month or life. So for example, best example is in mathematics we have the pi value. So pi value is 3.142 and it is recurring. That value will not change. Okay, so whenever you use that value, it will be same. So that is defined in the mathematics, and in physics, in chemistry, some constants we will come across where the value will be fixed. Okay, so that is the meaning of constant. So constant is a quantity which do not change its value during the execution of a program. So if you compare with variable definition, variable is a quantity which can change its value. See, in case of variable, say I have used the word which can change. That means it has an option to change. If you don't change throughout the program, it's fine. It's not a problem. It is not a rule that you have to change its value compulsory at certain point of program. So it has the option to change. If you want, you can change the value. Okay, otherwise let it be whatever the value you have given for the initial time. Okay. Next, coming to the constant. So once you give the value for the constant, it will not change throughout the execution of a program. If you try to change, you'll get an error. Okay. Next, so see, similar to variable definition, here also you can say constant is an identifier which stores a value and do not change during the execution of a program. So always you have to use this word, execution of a program. That is from starting point of the program till the end of the program. You have to consider that part. Okay. Next, see again, constant is a name given to the computer memory location where the value is stored and do not change here. Okay, it's not a may change, so it will not change. Okay, and do not change during the execution of the program. Okay, so if you consider this memory location only, if you consider this num as a constant, then this value will be fixed. If you consider this num as a variable, then this value can change. Okay, so this is the constant definition. So now just we will discuss with respect to programming language, then it will be very clear. See again, so if you consider just as an identifier, identifier is a name. See why I am mentioning always identifier is in a programming language when we write a programs. See wherever we come across these things, that is variable, okay, constant, then array, function, like this. So some programming elements are there. For all these things, whenever you write the name, that is variable name, constant name, array name, function name, structure name, class name, object name, in that way you have to remember the identifier rules compulsory. So otherwise what we people will do that, we'll by heart those variables and constants, arrays, function names. So we should not do like that. So we have to remember the identifier. So if you remember the identifier rules, then no need of by heart, just you can write on your own. So in one program you can write the variable name as abc, in another program bcd, like that, because we have remembered the identifier rules. Okay, so now let us just consider three programming elements. So what are those programming elements? See, first one is identifier. So this is the general term. So if you consider this as the general term, so we can say identifier is just a name without any attributes, without any properties. We go for the variable. Okay, so what is variable? Variable is a name with value. Okay, next, see, if you want to write further, like which may change during the execution of a program, we can write it. But by looking at this word variable or variation only, we can understand it will change its value. Next, coming to the constant. So constant is a name again with value. So one extra thing you have to add it. What is that? With value, which is fixed. This you have to add. Then you will come to know the exact difference between variable definition and constant definition. So it's very simple. See, when you write the program, when you come across these things, identifier, variable, constant. So in order to remember the quick definition, okay, you just remember these things. It will help a lot. Identifier is a name, variable is a name with value, constant is a name with value which is fixed. That's all. If you consider these two, that is last two definition, variable is a name with value means now we get a question, name given to what? So name given to the computer memory location. Okay, so that is this. These are the computer memory location. Name given to any of this computer memory location is nothing but the variable where the value is stored, which can change. Next again comes the question, constant is a name. So to which again it is name given to the computer memory location where the value is stored, and that value is fixed. That is the difference between variable and a constant. So similarity is both are identifiers. Difference is variable value may change, constant value will not change. That is the difference. Okay, so whenever you consider the constant definition or variable definition, if if you want to answer generally, then you can go for first definition, that is variable is a quantity which can change its value during the execution of a program, or you can just say variable is a quantity which can change its value. And in case of constant also, constant is a quantity which do not change its value. But if you want to answer with respect to programming language, so you answer the third one, you go for the third definition. Because in a program, when you analyze the program, when you trace the program, if you remember the third definition only, you can understand the program correctly. Because when you want the answers of the definition, depending on situation you consider. If you are facing a test or viva in practicals, you can answer anything. But if you are writing a program, if you want to analyze the program, you remember this third definition, because you should come to know where the value is stored and how it is changing, what are the operations considered with the computer memory locations. Okay, and in case of constant also, you consider the last definition. Constant is a name given to the computer memory location where the value is stored and do not change during the execution of a program. Okay, now these are the classifications of constants. Okay, so in constants, so we have two main types: numeric constant and character constant. So by the name itself, we can consider. See, always when you learn the new topic, yeah, okay. So is my voice clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So here, so constant classification we will discuss. So in constants, we have two main types: numeric and character. Okay. So from the term only we have to understand something. So whenever you learn any new topic, first you concentrate on the term. So from the term only we will come to know some 50% of the answer. So numeric and character. So numeric means which is related to only numbers, and character means which is related to all, not only letters like capital letters and small letters. Three categories you have to consider whenever you consider character. Three categories: capital letters, small letters, first category; second, digits; third, symbols. These three categories how to consider when you look at the word character. Again, I'm telling, don't get confusion or don't consider that character is only meant for alphabets, that is capital letters and small letters. Character term is meant for all the three categories, that is small capital letters, small letters first category; second category digits; third category the symbols. Okay, but for numeric you consider only numbers, and one extra symbol is there in numeric, that is point, decimal point. Because if you go for floating point, that is 2.23, 5.23, there you will come across extra symbol, that is point. And with respect to that, two more symbols are plus and minus. If you are considering positive number, you have to use plus, or a negative number minus. If you're using without any sign, that it means that it is assumed to be positive. Okay. Coming to the numeric classification. In numeric we have integer and floating point. Okay. In character we have single character and string. So you observe this classification: single character and string. Single means you have to consider one character. So one character means either capital letter or small letter or a digit or a symbol. Again we will tell, either capital letter or small letter or a digit or a symbol. So that is nothing but single character. String means group of characters, more than one. Okay. One or more than one. Minimum is one, maximum is more than one. Next, in integer we have three types: decimal, octal, hexadecimal. In floating point, two types: fractional form, scientific notation. Actually in floating point, it is not two types. We can represent in two ways, we can say, in fractional form and in scientific notation. First you copy the definition of constants and this complete classification, then we will go in detail of classifications. So once you finish the definition, that is three definition of constant, you just tell me, I will scroll down. Okay, so we will go for integer constant definition. So integer constant is a value which can be any combination of digits from 0 to 9. So we know what is a constant. So constant is a quantity, or you can consider constant is a value, quantity or value, anything you can say. So in constant we have two types, numeric and character. So numeric refers to only numbers, character refers to all numbers, symbols and alphabets like capital letters or small letters. So in numeric we have integer and floating point. So first one integer. So the name itself tells integer value. So integer value means the value should be in this format. That is, which should not include decimal point and float fractional part. Like see, if I type 9.00, so this is not integer. So you have to avoid this fractional part and even decimal point. So the number should be whole number like 9, 5 or 3 like this. Okay. So decimal point is not allowed, and after that uh, even if it is 00, that is also not allowed, or if you are writing any numbers like 6 7, this is also not allowed. Okay, so it should be without decimal point and a fractional part like 5 6 7 8 like that. Okay, so it can be even two digits or three digits, anything, but it should not include this decimal point and some numbers. Okay, so this is an integer. And if you consider that way, so what are the digits allowed in that? So 0 to 9, it is allowed. So from digits from 0 to 9 it is allowed. So in integer constant we have three types: decimal, octal and hexadecimal. So we will see one by one. So if you go for a decimal integer constant, so it can be any combinations of digits from 0 through 9. So 0 through 9 means starting digit 0, last digit 9. In that you can consider any digits. Okay, preceded by an optional minus or plus sign. That means preceded means before writing digit. So if you want to write anything, like if I want to write 7, this is correct. Without any sign also you can write, or plus 7, or you can write minus 7. So only symbols plus and minus are allowed, not other symbols. Like if I write star 7, so this is not a constant. Okay, because star symbol is not allowed. So only plus and minus symbols are allowed. If you write without any sign, it is assumed to be true. sorry, it is assumed to be positive, plus, positive, minus, negative. Okay, these are the two symbols allowed in decimal integer constant. And in decimal integer constant only, now